Hello everybody, welcome to the group chat from Footy Accumulators and Betfair with Alan McInally and me, Will Perry. I want to start talking about Tottenham this week. Look, they were top of the Premier League, right? They were top of the Premier League mid-December. They're now 11 points off the lead. Mourinho and his players battling. We've heard this before. We've read this script before. There's problems with Serge Aurier, who left the club apparently at half-time after a fallout in the dressing room during that Liverpool game because of the Firmino goal. There's the situation with Dele Alli, with Gareth Bale. What's going on at Tottenham, Al?
Great, isn't it? It's been a really busy week, really busy week. And remember, of course, the result against Brighton as well, that would have set everybody back on their heels a little bit. The falling out in dressing rooms, I mean, I don't think you're doing it right if you're not falling out, because nothing ever runs as smooth as you want it to, Will. But I suppose Mourinho has a history of falling out with players, doesn't he? And it just seems to be a little bit of what we've seen and probably expect to come from Mourinho, especially when they've, like you said, 11 points behind now after being top in December.
What about Serge Aurier? Because look, I don't think anyone really expected him to be the right back at Spurs, but he's had 11 Premier League starts, and it was Jose Mourinho who brought in Matt Doherty from Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think he's done okay, Serge Aurier. I mean, I don't have a problem with him. I can't remember him really letting down Spurs too much, but something's obviously clicked between the players and the goals they're letting in, and there must have been a few. I mean, God forbid you would upset a football player now. You know what I mean? Like, you need broad shoulders, and there's not many of them with broad shoulders, because if you're getting stick because you're part of a defensive unit that let a goal in and you throw your toys out the pram and you leave, I mean, do you really want them in your team? I'm going down my way. I'm like, you've got to take it on the chin sometimes, a football player. Nothing ever runs as good for you as you think it might be. It might do it for a spell, and then there's always a dip or something maybe happens, and you've got to have the strength to come through it. And I'm not happy with him sort of leaving, giving it, I'm not having this because the manager had a go at me.
Yeah, and what about Gareth Bale? Has the Gareth Bale loan been a complete failure, Al?
Yeah, I don't want to say yes. I mean, where's Gareth Bale? Where is Gareth Bale? The guy that flies past people. To be fair, he's come on as a sub a couple of times and kind of had flashes, but I don't know. It's little boy lost. I don't know where Gareth is. Where's the boy? And by the way, there is nobody but nobody. I don't care. Even Arsenal fans surely must have been like, oh boy, Gareth Bale's coming back to Spurs. Oh man, wait to see this. And he's not been playing at Real Madrid. He must be bursting to get out and to prove to everybody he's still the Gareth Bale that we remember. And then nothing. In fact, I'm beginning to wonder, because, listen, 3 months he's been at the club. He's got to be fit by now, picking up niggly injuries, fine. But the manager's not playing him well. Now I don't know whether it's actually a Mourinho signing. Is it a Daniel Levy signing? Because if you've got to think that if you're bringing Gareth Bale to the football club and Mourinho wanted him to come, Mourinho's got to play him, isn't he? Mourinho's got to play him. That's not the case. So I've started thinking, I don't even know if Mourinho wanted him back at the football club, but he's just not there. Gareth Bale, that I remember, is not the football player I want to see.
What about Wolves, right? Nuno Espirito Santo is climbing up. He's creeping up to the next Premier League manager to lose his job. 14th in the table, Wolves, Al. 2 points above Brighton. And look, having played, 60 games last season with, of course, the Europa League, they've got far fewer games to play this season. Everyone thought that they would kick on and be looking at a real assault on the top six and potentially even the top four places. 1 win in 11 in the Premier League. That was mid-December against Chelsea.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that's an incredible. You know me, I'm like for stats, but when you look at how many games you've won, that's one of the games, the stats you think, 1 in 11, that can't be right. I mean, I genuinely thought Wolves would be 6th, 7th this year. Now, let's. And by the way, truthful facts is the loss of Jimenez is taken away as big for Wolverhampton Wanderers as Kane injury for Spurs. Genuinely, I think it's that big. I think he was that important to them. They brought the young Portuguese lad in, who's a good player, but can't give you 90 minutes in the Premiership. I watched him a couple of times. He's been good. He's got a couple of goals. But by 70 minutes, I'm like, change. It's just his physicality is not there for him yet to do a 90 minutes and do what Nuno wants him to do for the team. And losing Doherty is another piece. And although he does tinker, and they seem to have a good system in terms of bringing players in, because they've kind of got the best agent in the planet to try and get them it from whatever country they're coming from. But I don't know, Will. I'd rather you answer the question on Wolves, because I am absolutely baffled that they can be that poor in a 1 win in 11.
I think you're spot on. They're definitely missing Jimenez, aren't they? And I think it's incredible that he's in light training and could play again this season. And we all hope that that's the case. But, in terms of the goals that he used to provide, I was looking at this actually, right? Wolves have only scored more than twice in one game this season, which is very unlike them compared to last season. And that was against Brighton. It was a 3-3 draw against Brighton. Remember that dramatic point that they picked up at the Amex. Their next 4 games, right? Arsenal, Leicester, Southampton, Leeds. That's a tricky run as well. I've said it to you before, Al. Look, Fabio Silva could be a great player one day, and he's a teenager now. You can't rely on the goals from him. And I know they've got Neto and Podence and players that can play in those positions, and they've signed William Jose, haven't they? But have they missed a trick not getting Diego Costa? Would he not have been the man to fill the boots, fill the goals of Jimenez for the rest of the season?
I can't help thinking that, well, yeah, maybe. Because I can't really answer the question because he's not going to be there. But the players you speak about, in the likes of Podence, Neto, they've really got to step up. Genuinely got to step up. And the back 3 or back 5, back 4, pick as many as you want. And Connor Cody got loads of claps on the back. Well done, Connor, doing brilliant. England, etc., etc. The responsibility has to fall with him and his defenders, because they need to keep the ball out of the net. It's as simple as that. Well, and you can sneak games 1-0, even though you said they're not scoring many goals. It was only that game against Brighton. They managed to bag 3 goals and got themselves a point. If you can keep the ball out of the net and sneak a couple 1-0ers, then all of a sudden we'll think that everything's good with Wolves. But that's what they'll have to do. The next 4 games for them is huge. And just maybe, hopefully for Wolverhampton Wanderers, that is, that they get somewhere near. And that's another thing, incidentally, when we speak about Wolves. I have no connection to Wolverhampton Wanderers whatsoever. But last year, I loved watching Wolverhampton Wanderers. I loved watching them. They were brilliant. This year, I'm like, they're struggling. I always say it, they're pushing rope up a hill. Everything seems to be a problem. Nothing seems to be flowing the way Nuno wants it. He must be pulling his hair out, to be honest, for his beard. Big, isn't it?
Look, just quickly, finally on Wolves, he seems to me unsackable, doesn't he, Nuno Espirito Santo, given the journey that they've been on. But, that slide in the table and the way that they're going, if they are to get nearer the danger zone, and we're fast forwarding a couple of months, can you see his position in any kind of danger?
No. 3 weeks ago, I would have said absolutely unsackable, no chance. Him and Chris Wilder, Jurgen Klopp, impossible. Pep Guardiola, impossible to be sacked. And after what's happened in the last 3 weeks, if they get dragged in, he is absolutely under pressure and just might be the next manager to get sacked, because football is. And I refer mainly to the Frank Lampard situation, where I was like, there's no way they will sack Frank. They will give him time. Chelsea are a good team. He's a good manager. He's an up-and-coming manager. So in that case, by that level of thought, from me, yes, he's under pressure, and they need results. And I'm going to side with Nuno, and hopefully they get them, because I still think Wolves are a good team to watch.
Right, West Ham. Look, a lot of West Ham fans unhappy that they haven't replaced like for like in terms of getting a replacement for Sebastian Haller, and they got the money for Haller. But to me, just sort of looking at the books at West Ham, that's just gone straight on Ben Rama, that cash, that freed up a loan, and therefore Jesse Lingard came in. So look, David Moyes, I guess, relying on Jesse Lingard to get back to the form that he was in at the World Cup and a few years ago at Manchester United for those goals. And potentially, I don't know, Moisey more than me, but it's thinking maybe he could play Lingard off Antonio. Are West Ham a Mikel Antonio injury away from sliding down the table and finishing 14th, 15th?
Well, to be fair, with Souček and Yarmolenko chipping in a little bit, I thought both fullbacks have been very good. Yeah, I think there's more to West Ham. There wasn't, Will. West Ham were so Mikel Antonio reliant for ages and ages and ages, but I don't know, I don't see that so much now. I genuinely don't. Having said that, you bring up the best point is you sell Haller, where's your replacement? Because if you're asking Antonio to go through the whole season and not get injured, that's a really slippy one, that one. And there is not a team
Al, should that replacement have been Josh King then? Because that's the main question, isn't it?
Well,
Look, they were after Josh King. I think they offered about 13 million quid in the summer, and that was turned down. And then now he's gone to Bournemouth for, now he's gone to Everton. For peanuts from Bournemouth for about £5 million or something. And I know when you look at Josh King, he's not been amongst the goals. He hasn't scored in the Championship all season. He scored 6 in the Prem last season as Bournemouth struggled. But would that have been the kind of, figure that they needed? Another striker, at least a backup to Antonio?
Well, certainly the backup to Antonio is definitely it. Would he have gone Josh King to West Ham? Yeah, I actually think he would have for sure. And apparently it was a battle between Fulham and Everton, and I don't even think the battle was there because he's going to pick Everton, isn't he? For goodness sake, in the position they're in, with the manager they've got at the moment in time, trying to change things at Everton. Not that Fulham's not a big club, but with the problems they've got at the moment, I would imagine that would have not been my choice either. But West Ham have to, and had to, I think, really prioritise that position, mate. I really do. And they haven't done it. And by the way, we're going to go into Jesse Lingard. I think Jesse Lingard's a lucky boy. He's a lucky boy that Moisey was the manager at Manchester United. So Moisey knows him and will be certainly putting more responsibility on his plate that he gets at Manchester United. Because I don't remember anybody, there must have been somebody who was interested in Jesse Lingard, but I don't remember, the length of my arm. I got to West Ham and I was like, I hope Moisey takes him because he has to go somewhere, he has to play. And they're expecting plenty from him. When you've played for Manchester United, you play with those kind of players, he better look as if he's been at a better club when he gets the opportunity to play at West Ham. Or it's a wasted move by Moisey. He should have gone for a striker. We're talking Josh King because he's probably, in terms of players that have gone to, likes of Everton, he's on the tip of our tongues. I'm sure there'll be other players that we should have been thinking about that Moisey could have gone for, but why did he not? Why did it not happen? They've had the whole of January.
Yeah. Look, ins and outs at Anfield. Okay. We'll start with the ins because I know you've had a close eye on Ben Davies at Preston. Tell us what Liverpool fans can expect from him. It's a very sort of old-fashioned signing, isn't it? The champions dipping into the Championship. I think the last time that happened, well, it was recently, wasn't it? But Manchester City signing Scott Carson. But in terms of a player that's going to play, and looks like Ben Davies could get some minutes under his belt at Anfield. What kind of a guy is he? What kind of a defender is he? Right,
I'm going to put my head in my block here, Will. Genuinely. He won't get minutes. He'll get games, 90-minute games.
Okay.
Ben Davies is as good a football player in the Championship as any player in the Championship as a centre-half. He's very Van Dijk-like. He's very Virgil van Dijk-like. I'm not saying he's a Rolls Royce, but he's a very elegant football player. He's a good passer of the ball. He's quick over the ground. And I'm amazed. When I heard the money they were speaking about, I was like, no, that can't be right. 2 million, but that cannot be right. There's got to be an add-on there from something. And funnily enough, one of the clauses in terms of money was, will he get an England call-up? Will he get this? And I was like, there's every chance this lad plays for England. I genuinely think he's good enough.
But what does that say?
Very good player.
Well, I mean, and he's 25 years old, isn't he? And I know he's had all sorts of loan spells. He was at Fleetwood a couple of years ago. Simon Grayson, who had him at Preston, talks very highly of him. But what does that say then about Nat Phillips and Reece Williams and guys who've been, on loan at Stuttgart? And, Reece Williams, I know was at Kidderminster Harriers, but has come through the academy. What does that say about the Liverpool academy that they're having to buy youngsters from Preston? Yeah,
well, it's just not. They've had an opportunity. I thought Nat has played pretty well when he's come in, actually, to be honest. I don't think he did anything else. But defend really well and looked. I don't think he looked out of place. Williams has had an opportunity, make too many mistakes, and I don't think Ben makes a lot of mistakes. I genuinely don't. I've seen a bit of Preston. Preston have got two really good players, with the greatest respect to their was. Alan Brown, who plays in the middle of the park or fullback, and Ben Davies, the left-sided defender. And I'm not surprised that Ben has moved on to a higher football club because I genuinely, when I watch him, I'm like, well, he's too good for this. He's too good for the Championship. Maybe, just maybe, physically, he's not as big or as powerful looking as Gomez or Van Dijk. But in terms of the others they've got there, I think he's as good as they are. I genuinely do. And I can't speak any highly of Ben Davies. I don't know the lad at all. I don't know him. But when I watch him in a football pitch and I watch him for Preston over the last sort of 3, 4, 5 months, whatever, because I've done a lot of pressing games, been based up in the Northwest. He's looked to stick out. He's just looked to stick out. Even though, of course, Preston are not top of the Championship, which Alex Neil would like, but he's a good player, genuinely good player. And if Liverpool are not producing, better than Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, then Liverpool are going to continue to go into the transfer market.
But he must be pinching himself, Ben Davis. If you told him 10 days ago that he'd be, taking pictures wearing that number 28 shirt in the tunnel at Anfield, when he's just about to prepare for another game in the Championship, mid and bottom of the Championship with Preston. Unbelievable story. It's a great feel-good story that, the champions are dipping in and finding talent in the lower leagues in England.
I think, you mentioned he was 25. I actually thought he was 26, 25. It's late to come to the table in terms of, surely if you were good enough, you'd have been spotted at 21, 22. It just hasn't been the case for Ben. And maybe it's taken this kind of time for him even to be as confident in himself. But I promise you, I think Ben Davis will be a hit at Liverpool.
Yeah.
I've been wrong before, but not many times.
Look, in terms of an outgoing at Liverpool at Anfield, it's Takumi Minamino, right?
Oh, yeah.
Who I think is actually going to be a really, really good signing for Southampton. They've got him on loan until the end of the season. He's just turned 26. I remember watching quite a bit of him when he was at Red Bull Salzburg before Liverpool signed him. And, he came in the January window, last window. Let's be honest. He hasn't hit the ground running. He hasn't really taken to that level. He hasn't had many starts, but he scored one Premier League goal in 19 games for Liverpool. But I can just see he's an intelligent player. I don't know what you make of him, but I can see him working with Ings and the sort of formation that Hasenhüttl plays. Obviously, Hasenhüttl is from the RB clubs, isn't he? He's from that brand of football. What do you make of that as a signing? It's kind of, no one's going to miss out. No one's going to lose on this situation, are they?
No, and also nobody at Liverpool will be too disappointed. But I think they'll be genuinely excited for Minamino. He doesn't seem to be a lad who caused a lot of problems. The only thing you quite rightly said, Will, was I haven't seen him play. We haven't seen him play at Liverpool for any sustained period. So do we know a lot about him? If you trained with him every day and you watched him training every day, you'd know what a good player he was or how dangerous he can be. What he has got, in my opinion, that will help Southampton and Ings is the two of them are a couple of buzz bombs. They get plenty of energy up there and they'll cause you problems. And with a bit of luck, he'll go that way and not that way in terms of trying to go forward for Southampton and not be too negative and obviously try and create chances for them. But it's a kind of suck it and see. Even for Minamino, it's his opportunity to prove to everybody he's a Premier Division football player and has the opportunity through Ralph Hasenhüttl by going on loan to Southampton for the end of the season, who incidentally are also a fantastic football team with the likes of Ward-Prowse, etc., that's in the squad, and Redmond and the way they've been defending sort of prior to maybe the last couple of games. So it's a real good opportunity for them, but nobody really knows because we haven't watched enough of them in terms of minutes at Liverpool. So prove to us, Minamino, that you're a Premier Division football club. He has the opportunity.
In terms of the title race, it has been a crazy, crazy season, which I guess we expected given where the world is at the moment. But there have been 9 teams at the top of the Premier League at the end of a match week, which is a record for the top flight for the Premier League. Manchester City at the top. Looks like there's probably blue ribbons on that trophy out. Would you be amazed if City don't win it from here, even though Liverpool are starting to play like we all know they can?
Yeah. I think City, I do. I think Liverpool will push them, but City are looking that kind of imperious passing unit that we know of. Still haven't really done anything about that top striker, Will. You'll be unhappy about that. I thought that'd be one thing that they, or Pep rather, would be thinking. And the only thing in my head is that they have enough, but if Jesus gets injured, let's say, who the hell plays up top? Mahrez? Sterling? Although they are such a good football team, Man City. They've got some really wonderful football players. And in terms of passing, that's where they'll probably, tear teams apart. That's where they do tear teams apart. But I still think there's something missing. And he seems to be relying on Sergio Aguero that's definitely going to come back. Yeah, okay, I'll go City win it, but I'm a bit surprised they haven't added to the squad.
Yeah, so look, you're reluctant. You have to be pushed there, Al. But what do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be to the wire? Do you think we're going to be talking in April, beginning of May, and it's a matter of points we can count on one hand?
Yes, yeah. I'm okay. Let's say we get to April 23rd-ish, the last week in April. I'll say City are 4 points clear of Liverpool. I think it'll be close, tight, genuinely tight, and the rest, tucked in behind Liverpool. Liverpool have just seemed to be. I think the game against West Ham the other day, I don't know whether something clicked. Fullbacks were much better. I thought they were more precise. I don't know. It just looked like a Liverpool team that I kind of remember. And obviously, in my opinion, with Ben Davies coming in at centre back as well, because I think he'll start. I think he's a genuine, maybe not right away, but depending on, because he's already spoken about, Henderson and Fabinho, etc., as centre backs. But I think when he watches Davies at close hand, I think he'll start more games than people probably imagine will.
Yeah, and how much would it change your mind then if Liverpool are to school Manchester City on Sunday? It's at Anfield, isn't it, the game? It'd probably come at just the right time, isn't it, for Liverpool, given that they're on this upward trend now, this upward curve, and playing like we all know they can, like I said, and Mo Salah sort of back to the player that he was at the beginning of the season. Had a bit of a blip, didn't he? But they're firing on all cylinders now.
Yeah, they were really good. I mean, he was really good. He's a wonderful football player, Salah. Really, really exciting. He genuinely is. And Milner's still doing it as well, which is ridiculous because he's about 72, isn't he, whatever it is. He's probably older than me, James Milner. But they do look so good. It'll be a good game at the weekend. And I don't see either of them, and certainly not City. City don't play like that. I don't see either of them giving it. We'll take 0-0 between each other. I think because Pep knows if he can beat Liverpool, especially at Anfield, then he'll probably think the title's theirs. They can almost not coast in, but certainly gives them a buffer. And Liverpool know that if they can turn them over, then it keeps them within touching distance. So it's going to be a really, really good one, genuinely. I don't see it being a 0-0. Oh, so you say that Man City are going to win, and I'm going to say that Liverpool are going to win, although I've just said City are going to win the title. But so I have a soft spot for Liverpool, obviously, but yeah, it'll be a good game. I'm still going to go Liverpool. I'll have a fiver with you that Liverpool win it, and you'll obviously say City. But I still think over the period of time to get to the end, probably City have the depth and squad that might be just enough to give them the title.
Okay, in terms of our midweek acca, right, Al, we're going to pick 4 teams. We're going to go for a fourfold. Yep. And look, I'm going to start, as I always do, with a nice, easy one. Manchester City to win at Burnley. I actually thought Burnley played quite well against Chelsea, even though they had just the one shot, and that came in like the 94th minute. That was their only attempt. It wasn't even on target. But we know what Burnley do. They keep their shape very well. They're very organised under Dyche. I think City will have too much for them in terms of City's title race push as well. It's at Turf Moor, isn't it, on Wednesday night? And then I'm going to go for Leicester to win at Fulham, which I know Leicester got walloped, didn't they, by Leeds? It was a great game at Ellen Road. But I'm going to back Brendan Rodgers to get back to winning ways and pile the pressure on Fulham in the capital. So City and Leicester, which, we're not going to break the bank with those two, but let's try and get 4 out. What are you going to go for? You haven't one in the... We'll let you have one in the Prem if you want this week.
I'm just going to go 2 in the Prem. I was delighted for Steve Bruce, genuinely, because I'm quite close to Steve. Good result for them. And it just looked as though a couple of players, again, can get back fitness. So I'm going to go for them to beat Crystal Palace. So Newcastle to beat Palace. Get a good price for that as well.
Alan Wilson's looking great, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And bagging a couple of goals, that'll help him. Saint-Maximin coming back in. Defensively, they just have to be a bit secure. It's as simple as that. And Steve must be roaring at them every day, given that we can do this. We've got to do this. And certainly something seemed to click. So I'm going to go Newcastle to beat Palace. I've been a little underwhelmed with Palace this season. They probably have enough. They won it the weekend. I like the manager immensely in Roy Hodgson, but I'm going to go for Newcastle, keep the pressure off Steve. And the other one I'm going to go is, and I know Big Sam's been tinkering like mad. I saw a great tweet the other day. Somebody said that West Brom have signed okay and Villa had signed marvellous. That's all you need to know. I thought that's what. But even Sam knows he'll have to be better than okay if they're going to get out of it. But I'm going to go Sheffield United at home. I think they're at home against West Brom. So Matt are going to be, exactly.
Sheffield Wilder.
I'm going to go Wilder. The simple reason that I think this is the biggest thing Sam's ever taken in his managerial career, and I don't see them getting any better. I genuinely don't. Yeah. And I want Sheffield Wednesday just to be better than they are, because I think they are.
He's done it again. He's called them Sheffield Wednesday again.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I was at Sheffield Wednesday and Saturday, and they actually beat Preston 1-0. And Barry Bannon in the middle of the park was fantastic, although that was about it, to be fair. And Ben Davis. But apart from that, it wasn't. But I'm going to go Sheffield United to beat West Brom and Newcastle to beat Crystal Palace.
That's a massive game. Sheffield United, West Brom, isn't it, on Tuesday? And look, Sheffield United 8 points. They could go, just a point behind West Brom with that win. So there we go. Our midweek acca: Manchester City to win at Burnley, Leicester to beat Fulham at Craven Cottage, Newcastle to beat Crystal Palace, and Sheffield United to win the huge one down the bottom against West Brom. You can see the price for that on the screen. Right, Al, enjoyed that. Some really good, exciting games in the Premier League. Obviously, a full fixture list midweek. And you are having your first trip to the boys, the class of 92. You're off to Salford against Colchester in League Two, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, I am. Well, in terms of games to do, there's none. So I'll text Giggsy and Scholes and that, and I'll tell them I'm coming over, get the kettle on. But I'm really looking forward to it because I haven't been to the setup or anything. I know I've seen it on the TV a couple of times, and dipping my toe in, see what it's like, and hopefully enjoy the game. And you're right, there's loads of games on Tuesday, Wednesday, so it'll maybe give us a little bit more insight to who's going in the right direction. Where are you, pal? Where are you? Tuesday,
no, just studio stuff this week, midweek, and then I think I'm doing Fulham at the weekend. So we'll talk before then anyway.
Absolutely.
All right, enjoyed that. Speak next time, Al. Thank you.